Hello, hello, everybody. Pronago bringing you another Cause Monarchy Tribunal set. This best of 5 is going to be between Kenoli, who appears to be going 6-pool. Incredible. Impeccable. Nobody would ever predict that. And TopRamen, who is going to be rocking out as the... this is Jet Black, isn't it? Jet Black Terran, Kenoli, of course, perennially the Pumpkin Zerg. Now, these two have faced each other in previous Tribunals, in previous tournament matches in general. And typically, Ramen does get the better of him. I think the last time Kenoli did damage to Ramen, if I'm remembering correctly, he took a game, but was not able to finish the job. And that would have been in a best of 3, if I recall correctly. So that was not actually a full best of 5 in one of the other tribunals for Acropolis 4. Nonetheless, these players are very experienced in Cause Monarchy. Kenoli's a little bit of a... he's got some memes about him, you know, classic Kenoli, haha, classic Kenoli. Thanks to Google AI for that one. But Kenoli is also a player who has always played with low APM, let's be real. So it's interesting to me to see him continuously find some power, and he's showing a little bit of interesting decision-making here with a 6-pool. He's not typically known for his aggression. Usually you lose games to Kenoli because you're, allowing him to do his own thing. You're not pressuring him very often. You're not taking advantage of his, poorer multitasking when compared to other top players. So these are just all the things that you got to think about. But Kenoli is going to be sending those Zeths across the map. That's 8 of them moving across the map. It is going to be the classic Zergling Rush, just done in Cause Monarchy. We do have a Vulture that is going to be out by the time the first round of Zeths is complete. Some micro will be demanded of TopRamen in order to do the kiting shots. Also, keep watch on those lobotomy mines that the Vulture can place. Oh, hold on. He's not actually responding to this threat very quickly. A little uncharacteristic. Definitely wasn't expecting this. You can just tell by the movement of the unit. And just ignoring the Vulture with most of the Zeths, or a couple of the Zeths to try to pick the workers, forcing a little bit of sabotage here. But that second Fulcrum will end up finishing. So this doesn't look too bad initially, but let's see how many more Masons end up going down. We already have a lot of economic damage dealt to TopRamen, and that's not where I thought those Zeths were going to go. 2 of them are still at large. Finally, they will be brought down, but there's only 8 Masons left with a 9th on the way. Oh, it looks like there is actually a 9th one over here by the Fulcrum. Hopefully TopRamen notices that. Now the mines are going to be laid, but there is no aggressive follow-up. This was your very rare 6-pool into macro behind it play. I mean, does anybody do it like Kenoli? The answer is... sort of, but not nearly as funny. Kenoli is going to start scaling his economy a little bit late, but he's got great larva production at this point, and the Quas are out in time to deny the Vultures, so even though there's a little bit of micro there from Ramen, I mean, there's no damage that can be done from here. Taking advantage of that ramp, give you +1 weapon range shooting down it, and now, of course, Kenoli's just going to confirm that there's no mines laid, no Vultures hiding behind the base, and now moving forward. We are on Corrosion for map number 1. I did forget to call out the map name, but this is a Biddy B map, 2 spawn, top left, bottom right. Will not be surprised to see it become, emerge as one of the more standard maps in the pool that people handshake on. That being said, I thought for a second Kenoli was going to expand. Turns out no, he just wants to double down on making more workers and starting to have even sort of parity. It's kind of weird. Like, besides the psychological impact of being 6-pooled, Ramen is fairly even in terms of workers with the Zerg, and that typically favors Zerg play because they do usually take a while to get up to higher worker counts, but they also typically get higher base counts faster, and then their worker counts start to, really shove up the numbers. I can't really say Kenoli is doing either angle there, but he's pretty crafty with the burrow. He knows to burrow here, get the longer range of the Vulture, neutralizes. They have to stand on top of the Quas to make things happen. Now, a Vornath is on the way, and we also have, interestingly enough, a Circuith coming. So I think that might have intended to have been another Larvosk to try to continue upgrading his larva production, but now he feels a little bit pressured, so he ends up adding the static defense instead. It's not the end of the world. He can send the Zeths over to pop it, and then it'll regress into a K-Grid, which he can turn into the Larvosk after. And now we have that Ministry coming for TopRamen, which will float over to the Natural when it's complete. So that's our little bit of a update on all of the different units that are being made right now. Some Cyclops sauntering across the map with some more in production. I would not be surprised if Ramen goes for a star pad soon to start dropping those bad boys. Meanwhile, it will be Vornath. Obviously, now that it's hatched, we have the Vorvacors coming in. Those will ensnare units on hit, and just in general, they're such a nuisance to kill because they're more armored. And look at all the mines that are now acting against Ramen's forces. Oh no! Every unit going up in smoke. Not even much rubble left over after all of that, and Kenoli's going to be charging across the map. By the way, he did not make workers for some time now. He is just making only units. 3 more pairs of Quasilisks on the way. The Vorvs sink their teeth directly into the Cyclops. Initially a bit of a pullback there. I wonder why. Kenoli waiting for some more coming in. And the micro from Ramen here is pretty good, honestly. He's trying his best to stutter step backwards, but I mean, there's mines that are just waiting to sell him down the river. Instead, he cycles away. This is really, really good micro from Ramen. He got way more out of that than I think anybody would have expected. But the problem is he has no other combat units. He needed to do even more with that somehow. And he just has nothing left to micro. His lodestone is on the way. All hands on deck. Starting to make macro masons out of this ministry instead of lifting it. What a weird looking game. He's got 2 more Cyclops coming. The last of the lobotomy mines, like the last of the goddamn Mohicans, is about to pop. I don't think we're going to be seeing much more here, but thank you, Merit52, for the follow on Twitch, as Kenoli is primed to take down this lodestone. It's got a lot of armor, but the Vorvs are reducing it a little bit, and that is a wrap on the military, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think Ramen's going to dig himself out of this hole. He'll even drill, but GG is called, and Game 1 going the way of the underdog Zerg Kenoli. Seed 11 in the tournament, taking down seed number 6, but it's a best of 5, not a best of 1, so we'll have more games coming up. What a wild chain of events there for game number 1. Let's get into game number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, game 2 between TopRamen and Kenoli is now on your screens. We've got Terran versus Zerg for a while longer here, and while Ramen has dropped that first game, he is the favorite. He is the superior player from a mechanical standpoint. He'll need to be superior from a strategic standpoint. Kenoli is already doing something a little bit different. No 6-pull, but still a pretty early one, all things considered. And now banking for the inevitable Larvosk that he wants to build towards. We did see also he went for the Kalkir Lake and the Dying Embers of that first game. I'm interested in what comes from there. His Larvosk placement also pretty interesting. We're on Tesseract for our second game. Ramen's going to first scout him, so a little bit of luck on his side. Ramp, of course, is over here. A little bit hard to defend this Larvosk from a Vulture run by, which, by the way, Ramen also dictating the pace with mech. Typically, you don't go mech versus Zerg, but I'm happy to report that we have a lot of variety with how some of the top Terrans end up picking their builds versus Zerg. Obviously, Hanmano loves to play Bio versus Zerg, specifically with Savants. We obviously have a lot of mech players in general, but we have seen Bio play go back and forth and wax and wane in terms of which one they prefer versus Zerg. So we'll just have to wait and see. The Larvosk is done, and we have some Quasilisks on the way. Kind of a sick fake out, even though I don't think this would happen. But later on, as the value keeps going up of trying to get as much greed as you can in these matchups, Ramen is no fool. He knows that Quasilisks are going to be able to deal with his Vulture on the ramp. And right now, it's pretty meta to still send your Vulture anyway, even though you're not likely to really do anything. And we see here, actually, Ramen is going to go ahead and pull back and just slowly mass up a couple of extra combat units before he decides to move across the map. So Kenoli didn't actually need to make these quads right now. He could have let the pool pop, it be scouted by Ramen, and then he still just decides, doesn't matter, I'm going to go ahead and make Droleth, and just make that happen. Now, he has cleared a mine over here on the other side of this bridge. Ramen responds by moving his own Vulture like a chess piece forward, taking some more ground. One quas will confirm nothing in the top left. The mine then kind of does indicate that it's bottom right. We'll see what Kenoli does here with the Vultures starting to posture underneath the ramp. This is a lot of Fulcrums on just the one base, but you can always just not produce units out of it for a little bit if you're waiting to build up a lot of, military initially, and then you just wait until your resources are ready for an expand. Develop your economy that way. A bunch of lobotomy mines have been planted, but they're not immediately being guarded, so one Quasilisk just goes ahead and clears a bunch, so a little bit of egg on Ramen's face. A lot more eggs just hatched, and Azorka's Shroud is completing in the background of this, so this quas is just going to confirm, once again, where Ramen's base is at, but also probably clear a couple of mines on the process. Is it on attack move? It is not, so that's smart. You don't want to send an attack notification to your opponent about their mines. They might end up safeguarding them. Let's see how quick the minimap presence is there for Ramen. It turns out right now, not very quick at all, isn't it? Well, he will end up clearing that, so there is that to think about. Quaz getting ready. Ministry on the way. So Ramen will be moving in that direction for that expansion. And he's got a bit of a Cyclops mine containment. Somebody in the chat pointed out that the lobotomy mines are pretty fun when they end up stunning your own units. And I agree. I love when that ends up happening just because it's very cinematic. But you don't really love to see it from the perspective of, you know, you're looking for the higher skill play. You don't want to be standing right on top of them. Ramen's already making adjustments in his unit positioning. And we have some Drolats being pulled over here. I don't know. That must have been intentional because some of them have minerals in their beaks, so to speak. So clearly Kenoli feeling a little bit pressured here. He ends up losing a couple of those workers. Those are juicy targets, this whole stack of units over here for Ramen. He's going to go after that Larvosk, and we will end up seeing a lot of power there in favor of the Terran. But still, the Lakes are out. We've got Zoryus as well to survive those attacks from the Cyclops. And as the attack cooldown debuff of the Rillarocors ends up reducing this army's power, Ramen's going to have to take the advantage that he ended up getting there and say, okay, I killed one of your production structures. That's going to have to be enough for me for now. Kenoli has a huge bank, can definitely throw down a hatch, and is going to just make some more Droleth. He's, you know, under the pump a little bit. Ministry for that expansion coming up. Ramen going to double down on his position. He's got that scrapyard up behind this, and he has gone for Matadors with the star pad in rotation as well. We know he'll be dropping. But the star pad's also going to be for the Anseal, so he can detect those Lakes. I don't know. I mean, Matadors could maybe just force their way up by virtue of their impressive durability. He just hunts down exactly where that lake is, and one of them is going to indeed be brought down. Matador, ooh, will be sniped away at the end, though. Another lake staffs the spot. Matadors are pretty tanky, right? And I guess there's not that much actual DPS here, but that lake it took a long time for it to go down. Now the Matadors will be brought down at the very end, and it looks like this is still going to narrowly be enough for Ramen to muscle up here. If only that one Cyclops was dead, it would take so much longer for these Drolets to start dying. The drill, that is not what you want to do, my friend. The Matador is going to light every single one of them on fire. Oh dear, and the Quads were on an auto rally instead of starting to fight back. Oh my god. Down to 4 workers. GG. Kenoli doesn't even want to try. And I don't blame him. That was a statement victory after the 6 pool got the better of him. Ramen's just like, yeah? Well, I'm going to do this to you. And Kenoli did not have the answer in time. I like the early Shroud timing in theory, but maybe needs to pair it with a circuit at the ramp or something. And very, very quick stuff from Ramen. I feel like you got to be a little bit worried now on Kenoli's side because he's like... Well, it's easy to defend a 6 pool if you think it might be coming, but I don't know what I'm going to do to defend that. Let's see if he's got the answer in Game 3. On a frozen Sylphid, very topical for the modern weather, as I currently live and breathe. It is like -6 or something earlier yesterday. I think today has actually been nice. You know, tomorrow's going to be a nice 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Balmy. Feel like Florida. But we have Ramen and Kenoli to keep ourselves warm, especially Ramen. Look at that APM. Ooh, boy. Truly, this is the contrast of all contrasts. 500 APM, 0 on the other side. Kenoli, the Pumpkin Zerg down here in the bottom right of Sylphid, Frozen Sylphid. And Ramen is going to go mech here is the... Oh, actually, I think this is just black then. No, dim gray Terran on the bottom left. He just adds all of the achromatics there, the dark achromatics. And occasionally, no, yeah, that's right. He has the white ones as well, the light ones. He's got like platinum, silver, a couple of the ones that are brighter. Either way, though, he likes to make it hard for me, and I appreciate the challenge. Let's go, boys. Kenoli is doing the Kagrant Pool Larvosk build. So this is a fairly standard one. Pretty similar to his Tesseract build. We'll see if he follows it up with a fast Larvosk, or a fast second Larvosk into a Zorka Shroud. We will have to wait and see. While we are waiting and seeing, if you guys want to support Cosmonarchy further, streamlabs.com/pronogo, we are currently accepting funding for a newbie tournament, sort of like the Hit 'em Up Hash, where you have to be Class 4, Class 3, or haven't played, depending on if you're brand spanking new, and then you can join the tournament. We're hoping to get the funding locked and loaded by the second week of February, because Alexander's birthday is coming up, and it would be pretty cool to have a birthday bash for him that's all about them newbies. I'm sure he would appreciate that as well. So if you guys want to help that be a reality, streamlabs.com/pronogo. Appreciate all donations. First Fulcrum has already spat out a Vulture. Another one is on the way, and it does look like that Mason met a grisly end while we weren't looking. But this is that mind game I was talking about earlier. He just made a mega Droleth push, and only now is he going to start adding those Quas. So it seems like Kenoli thinks he's going to go Hydrith to try to box out the incoming mech play, since that seems to be what Ramen wants to do 2 games in a row. Now, Kenoli doesn't know this, but it's 3 games in a row here. I like the idea of the Hydras to try to contend, and I also like the idea that the Quas are going to just be a little bit later, allowing more Droleth, allowing more Eco. It allows you to afford those units just a bit faster. But we are also missing that extra larva production, so just keep that in mind as the scaling is not quite there for Kenoli just yet. I feel like he needs a hatch or something, either if not as an expansion, something else. I don't know what he's going to be making with all the money in his bank right now, you know? Mines are being cleared. The Vultures are being convinced to go backwards. Quaz is scouted 12 o'clock and now is going to saunter forward. And it will end up seeing some Cyclops in action here. It was on attack move, so it seems like Ramen has no compunctions against showing his hand. Cyclops sighted. Iziracors are a great choice versus Cyclops because they will deal that bounce damage, they will target a bunch of enemies, and they take a while to be brought down by the Cyclops fire. Third Fulcrum on the way. This feels very familiar. Ramen not changing it if he doesn't have to, it seems. There is the Iziracor pairing. Oh yes, people were talking about a donation bar. I have it disabled for the VOD purposes, but yes, it is at 45 out of 150 right now. All right, first of the Quas is going to be sniped. Ministry for that expansion behind this attack. Let's see if Ramen can micro backwards properly, and if Kenoli can kind of shield himself. It feels like he needs more follow-up than just the Iziracors, and the Vultures are doing a great job at helping Ramen break down the individual Iziracors as well. Look at that. He barely lost anything in this fight. That did not go the way that Kenoli wanted it to go. He needed to have more firepower. While the enemy was kiting away from his opponent's army, you know, he could have actually gone for the Hydras to, you know, hit him in the back or something. Now, 9 Hydras total are being made. 6 are going to pop initially. That Kagrant not canceled, and the Vulture is kind of out in the back and is attacking the workers in the back way. If the Cyclops don't get brought down by all of these Hydras, this is going to be pretty bad here for our Zerg. He's already dropped a lot of workers, but you can kind of come back from that as Zerg. It's the problem is, can you defend yourself and not just get run over by the mech? A lot of workers went down. Half the worker count of his opponent. Humongous bank, though. And the Ski Bact is on the way. So we will end up seeing Bactylisks. With the Iziracors out in front, I don't think Mech is going to be able to break that. At least not with, you know, Scrapyard Mech and stuff. Matadors are going to be attempting to break it open, and we don't have any armor end here. I guess he could make he could make Rillarocors off of the larva if he was really desperate. But it's not looking very good for our Zerg. Ramen outclassing Kenoli so far. And honestly, I feel like Ramen's macro is just too good, typically. I don't suppose he is going to drop a game with this much of an advantage. Already starting to produce workers for his extra base. Gone are the days where people seem to be remembering to, you know, transfer workers or what have you, but that's all right. Doesn't need that efficiency in this particular match. Just something I would have liked to see for the purposes of rooting for Ramen, pulling for him in later matches, should he move past his current opponent. Neblime waits in the wings to face the winner of this series. Matadors are going to rend the armor of those poor Iziracors. Bactylisks are able to bounce those Cyclops targets, but now the Matadors are right on top of them. And when the Bactylisks have those units right in their way, if they're attacking in melee range, they're not bouncing. They're only doing one, you know, damage. Essentially, one attack. No bounce. Still, the initial push is going to be rebuffed. So that might have been an opportunity there for Ramen to have waited until Palladium or something and then range him down with Phalanx. Looks like he's getting ready to build something else. It's just another Fulcrum. Doubling down on the mech that he's got. Adding some gas miners here in the natural. Nothing at the ridge just yet. We do indeed have a good number of Hydrith units being made. Completely abandoned the pool for now. I feel like Vornath isn't terrible, though, honestly. Get some Vorvs with this army would be pretty sick. Get a little bit of armor end. As long as some Hydras are still present and it's not all Bactyl Iziracore, you can deal with the Matador, but if they get to a really big number, it's going to be pretty challenging for the Bactyl count to deal with them. Particularly since if they're all on top, it's not even like you can count on the bounces for extra damage. And now starting to eclipse him in terms of workers, it's not just that he's up by, 17, it's also that he's got that extra base mining this entire time. And yes, Zerg can come back by making a ton of workers at once, but right now that would not give Kenoli much of an advantage, given his natural is not even done yet. As we approach the 7.5-minute mark and go by it even. Star pad coming up. I'm sure Ramen is insulating himself against a potential Shroud pivot, going for the Anseal 4 detection. And the Watchdog Scout, something that I think... Do we still attribute this to It Depends from way back? Probably. But he's definitely the guy that I remember doing it at first, and it was a funny move. It was definitely a funny move. But look at the Matadors, even funnier. To provoke the Beast, Ramen is just going to get right on top of those Bactyls, and there is not enough Hydras here to deal with this. They might go down, but then all of the walkers in the back are still intact. Albeit, I guess, less than I thought there would be. I thought there would be more than that. All the Bactyls going down. That's a big gas deficit there that can only just hit. More Blackjacks are being made in the process, and now we've got a Trojan. Matadors can be dropped, and likely will, right into that mineral line. The Watchdog will confirm that the hatch is done, but not really mining. Swamp on the way already. Kenoli feeling really under the pump here. He does not have the economy to actually make those Apex tier units. All right, it's not going to be Matador drop initially. The 4 Cyclops are a little too conspicuous right next to that Trojan. You just saw the camera pathing movement indicating that Ramen will be dropping them right here where that little line is. So that is where he's going to be going inside the main base. Army is out here in the front with no advanced scouting over here in Avaleth or extra base or anything. So that's going to have to be a very quick reaction from Kenoli. And Ramen knows it. Ramen knows that Kenoli is not always the best at responding to this drop. This feels like the necessary setup where Ramen's controlled the pace of the game. He's lined them up, and it feels like Kenoli's about to get knocked down. The swamp will finish, and it's the worst time possible for him to start gestating units because his enemy is at the gates, and it doesn't really look like he's ready. He's adding the static defense. He's going to see if he can stall him out. That drop is in. That drop is in, and we are starting to lose workers left, right, and center as the Matadors attempt to force the issue before Kenoli can actuate his tech. Those units are doing nothing, and every droll left in the main base has gone down to Cyclops fire. The circuits are going to be eviscerated. Will any of them even finish? Tetzorakor starts just one lone Tetzorakor. GG. If there was ever a microcosm of what went wrong in that game, it's the one Teth being made as the last of the workers die. Well, a commanding victory for TopRamen. Looking forward to our next game, but it could be the last time we see Kenoli on the big screen. Yeah, if you donate, you can do it through... Oh shit.
Tell him this is $100, so he has to match it.
Tip Crow, well, thank you for the $100 towards the show match. Wink, wonk. Wow, those are funny looking $100 bill, but I'll take it. Yeah. Thanks, homie. Ladies and gentlemen, Pronago bringing you a fantabulous match of Cause Monarchy for Game 4 between TopRamen in the top right of Magnetron and Kenoli in the bottom left. This is Pumpkin versus Snow. That's right, Pumpkin Zerg, Snow, Terran. Way back when I was remaking the original StarCraft campaign to build it out for back when it was called Project Hydra instead of Cause Monarchy, there's an old document that indicates the player color of the unit that or of the player and what they kind of are. So it would be like Scarlet Confederate. That would be one of the factions, or Scarlet Dominion, I think. Scarlet Dominion Air, something like that. And in one of the missions, there was supposed to be an experimental set of Zerg, and they were just called Pumpkin Experiments. And people really liked that little bit from the planning. I remember UED Commander in particular, name that real OGs remember, was like, just he couldn't believe it. He just wrote pumpkin experiments all the time as like a generic. It's like it replaced hello, you know, or like it replaced LOL or something, you know, like that level of meme. Anyway, Kenoli sometimes reminds me of pumpkin experiments. He plays Zerg. The pumpkin experiments were Zerg. They were also pumpkin. He's always pumpkin. I mean, there's just a couple of parallels, that's all. Now, the Hydrith first is an interesting little pivot here, because clearly Kenoli feels like his Hydrith-based defense has been better versus the mech. I'm willing to believe that he can make that kind of thing work, but I do find it to just scale way slower than Pool. So we'll see if he can pull the magic off here. Worth noting, he has not spread the Kegri towards his ramp. I feel like that's been another thing that he could have done better. All of these games is finding a way towards the choke. Now, it is also worth pointing out that the map vetoes have gone the way of Ramen, Kenoli in terms of who picked the maps. So we started things off on Corrosion for Ramen's pick. Kenoli ends up taking that. Then we go to Kenoli's pick of Tesseract. He gets mowed down, even more convincing. Oh shit!
I heard someone donated 100 USD.
Holy moly, ladies and gentlemen, I am you, aka my brother, just spent $100 matching the $100 minus $90 that 3Crow donated. Thanks, homie. I guess that means that we're good to go on our donation goal for the newbie tournament. Well, wouldn't you know it? That is IMU. That's an IMU right there. What a guy. Well, newbie tournament locked in, but if you want to keep sending me money for it, I'll gladly accept it. It's going to a good cause. I'm a good caw. He actually did do it. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Well, I got to lock in for the rest of the cast here, because it does look like Kenoli's about to jump in head first. Zerg flailing, Vulture flailing, but I do appreciate that very much. Thank you. Venmo told me I was a fraud, so I had to PayPal. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think I only knew you. I didn't even know you could use Venmo for that, so maybe you can't. Maybe it's a fraud. A lot of Larvosk, a lot of Larva. A lot of Iziracore and Hydralisk. The Ovaleth is on the way, and that means that we are going to see some kind of drop. Do we even have another Iziracore, though? Is he going to do don't do a Hydra drop, Kenoli. What? Oh, God. Patui. Why would you do that? Well, maybe he can make my gross out sounds seem silly, but I don't think that's going to work out for him at all. I think he needs every unit that he can on the defense. Hasn't he seen the size of this army that is marching towards him? Unbelievable. Iziracore, Hydras. More Hydras. More Hydralisks. More. That's what he needs right now. He does not have it right now. He is... I mean, maybe with the ramp defense, he can actually make something happen here. Let's find out. I might be making a mountain out of a molehill. Pretty quick reactions, but he just lets them right up the ramp. He's got more Hydras hatching. Iziracore drawing the initial fire. These Cyclops are going to do a lot of splash damage, and we do not have a good spread of micro coming out from Kenoli. I think he's just going to get flatlined right here at the beginning, and you can see those Vultures taking forever for the Hydras to actually kill. Only 2 Izirakores was definitely a bit of a whiff. And now we have those Hydras just getting shellacked immediately. The Vultures hanging back behind the minerals. We got Izirakores coming out. And as the scrapyard comes on down, the triple Hydra drop of Ultimate Doom and Destiny is starting to go live inside that main base. Oh, no. Well, I mean... Oh. Oh, yeah. Hi, you're still here. Yep. Oh. Oh. God, they got like 4 more kills on top of that. They killed the Larvosk. Almost all the workers are dead. He dropped 3 Hydras and killed 1 Mason or something. Let's count the corpse. Yeah. Oh, you know, he got 4 Masons. That's more than I thought he would get. By 3. But he's definitely dead. I mean, if Ramen didn't drop Sylphid, I really have a hard time seeing how Ramen's going to drop this. I don't think we're getting to our Game 5 in this series, ladies and gentlemen. This looks like another 3-1, just like opener number 1. Unless Ramen ends up getting really bamboozled by something. Ramen's too clean with it. Snipes the Ovolith, doesn't even take a lick of friendly fire. Still has some lobotomy mines from earlier in the game. It does look like Kenoli's mostly avoiding those. And he's just, yeah, he's actually threading the needle and going straight into the natural. Oh, this is going to be a little bit annoying. Like, Ramen's definitely not expecting Kenoli to be moving across the map when he's got no workers. Kenoli is going to get a little bit of a self-mine go. I mean, he's killing some workers. Dropping him down to 21. A couple fulcrums are going to be interrupted, presumably. He's actually going to start attacking more of them. I guess maybe some of them are softened up from the Hydra drop. Oh, that mine is actually kind of killer for Kenoli, though. Oh, I like borrowing the Zero Core randomly. Unfortunately, the Mason who was building the Fulcrum just hovered over him and revealed him. So even his epic moves, as cute as they are in the moment, are not good enough initially. I will say, though, he has actually gotten back to a much better economic position than he was at before, and he is making a whole crap ton of Zero Cores. There's a small chance he can actually withstand the incoming attack, but he needs more Hydras. And probably a Circuit or two. Let's see what he's got going. There's the first Circuit in utero, shall we say, but I don't think it's going to quite finish in time, unfortunately. Whatever strat Kenoli is cooking up to dig himself out of this deficit is very, very close to being strangled in the crib, and I'm not sure Ramen is going to give him the time needed. Already knocking on the door, and a couple of Zero Cores being dropped very low, one of them dead. Circuit will finish. Gonna try to anchor his defense around this. The Royal Cores run the armor of the Matador. That could be huge, but all of those units are standing right on top of each other, and that's preventing Kenoli from avoiding any of the splash damage. Just gets all of his Zero Cores wiped. He's got almost no combat units left. He needs to start making some more units where that came from, and the Matador is not going to be brought down by a Hydra and a couple of workers. Ramen is just about done with this series, ladies and gentlemen. He has a couple more combat units coming. Blackjack's storming the gates, and GG is called on Magnetron for Ramen to move on to face Neblime. What a beautiful reunion that'll be. Guys, Kenoli did do what I didn't think he would do, which was he looked like he maybe was on the precipice of a recovery. I thought after that Hydralisk drop, that was a no way, dude, no way moment. But he did it. He made it happen, and I like that. This is Single Elim, cutthroat format. We will not see Kenoli again until Tribunal 5 in terms of the Tribunal cast. So I hope that you join us for, anytime he shows up for a weekend wage or a fun newbie tournament or a wackadoodle move anywhere else. But GG's, and we will be going to our next cast very soon. Stay tuned.